Hey guys, Dr. Jake from Victory Health Center, Victory Health TV. Today is about the detox project. Cleanse your body, clear your mind. If you like today's video and you want more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, Victory Health Radio is always posting on this channel too, and so you can get the podcast here on YouTube. Just subscribe. And then if you want to be a part of the community, we have an Instagram community and a Facebook community, Victory Knoxville on Facebook, and at Victory Health Center, at Victory Health Radio, at Victory Health TV on Instagram. And today's video starts with a video from the Environmental Working Group. I'll link that down below, and I'll link a couple other links down for some resources for you.
We do a lot of different research projects at the Environmental Working Group on a wide range of topics. But tonight, I want to talk to you about one specific project involving 10 Americans. 10 Americans who have really been instrumental in inspiring what we consider to be one of the most important environmental campaigns in history. One day, we collected a sample of blood from each of these 10 Americans, and we sent it to a laboratory to analyze it for 413 different toxic chemical pollutants, pesticides and industrial chemicals alike. Of course, scientists have been studying pollution in air, in water, and land for decades, but it's only recently that they turned to the study of pollution in people, and that's what this project was designed also to do. There are hundreds and hundreds of toxic chemicals in the air in the United States, hundreds of millions of pounds emitted each year. But we know for a fact that none of these 10 Americans were exposed to these chemicals by virtue of the air that they breathed, even though we found some of these very chemicals in these 10 people. Could also have been the water that they drank, and believe it or not, some drinking water does start off looking like this before it's treated. But we know for a fact it wasn't the tap water. Of course, it could have been food that was the route of exposure, but we know for a fact that none of these 10 Americans were exposed to the chemicals we found in them as a result of food that they bought at the grocery store, bought at a restaurant, and consumed. That was not the source. What about personal care products? Our online survey has shown that women use an average of about 12 personal care products a day, and that exposes them to more than 160 chemical ingredients, some of them rather toxic, day after day after day. Men, the exposure is about half that because they only use about half of the personal care products that women use. But some good news, this is not a gloom and doom presentation altogether. Almost all of the men were found to use both deodorant and toothpaste. So there's kind of a silver lining there. These 10 Americans weren't farm workers, they weren't factory workers. And when the results came back from the laboratory, we had found 287 chemicals in just those 10 people, an average of 200 chemicals in each one. When you look at the chemicals by category, it's kind of astonishing. 28 different waste byproducts, dioxins, furans, things that come out of incinerators, smokestacks. 47 different consumer product ingredients, the flame retardants in these lights and this projector, Teflon chemicals, Scotchgard chemicals, pesticides. But for my money, most disturbing of all, we found 212 industrial chemicals and pesticide breakdown products that had been banned 30 years before we took those blood samples and sent them to the lab in 2004. Who were these 10 Americans? How were they exposed? Well, the truth of the matter is we don't really know very much about these 10 people. About the only thing we know is that as the exposures took place, all of them looked something like this. This was the first time anyone had ever bothered since the beginning of the chemical revolution to examine umbilical cord blood to see how many toxic chemicals got through to the developing child. Here's another view. This baby is receiving about 300 quarts of blood circulating to him from the mother every day. The nutrients that are allowing the baby to grow, the oxygen that's allowing the baby to breathe. This baby, like all babies at that age, does not have a blood-brain barrier. That means that the tissues of the brain, the cells of the brain, are not protected as they will be in later life, just a few months from now, really, to protect him from the chemicals that would pass into those tissues and those cells. So this baby arguably has been at his most vulnerable for 9 months at this stage. And the other thing to know about this baby, this is my baby. This is Callahan Cook, my son, who was born a year ago. Pediatricians and scientists hoped that babies were protected from toxic chemicals because the chemicals were filtered out by the placenta. Our study showed, disturbingly, that that's not the case. Industrial pollution begins in the womb.
That 2012 study called 10 Americans took 10 blood samples from 10 Americans who had no direct exposure to toxins because they were in utero. 287 chemicals found in the umbilical cord going into the baby, an average of 200 per baby, 28 waste byproducts, Teflon, Scotch Guard, flame retardants, 212 industrial chemicals and insecticides, some of those even banned over 30 years ago. And the scariest thing about it was that because babies are most vulnerable to toxins during the first 9 months of development because of the lack of a blood-brain barrier. So there's no distance between what's in the blood and what's in the brain. And so as you grow older, you actually develop that. And so super scary, man, super scary. Question for you today, how you know that you're toxic, and these are some of the symptoms you may be suffering from too. Do you eat non-organic meat or dairy? Do you use Teflon nonstick cookware? Do you take medications? Do you drink city water? Do you drink sodas, diet or regular soda? Do you get shots? And you were born into a society that was way more toxic today than it was even 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Some of the effects of toxins can be chronic sinus congestion, short-term memory loss, tearing or red eyes. The sun is just always too bright. I've got to wear a hat. I've got to wear sunglasses. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, chemical sensitivities, migrating joint pain, trouble finding words, brain fog, non-restful sleep, even morning stiffness. Morning stiffness is a key indicator to you're toxic because toxins may be pooling in your blood and being settled in your blood while sleeping. Probably when you wake up, more sore in the morning. We gave our patients this toxicity sheet. It had a list of 22 toxins that are usually listed on the label of whatever you're using, cleaner, soap, shampoo. And so if you're a patient of ours, make sure that you pick this up in the clinic next time that you're in. Also, I'm doing a workshop on toxins in the food supply, so you want to stay tuned for that. We'll answer questions that are like, where are the strawberries? Get your pens and paper out. You really want to share this with other people today as well. Toxicity is unavoidable. 4 billion prescription drugs are ingested in the United States each year. 70,000 chemicals are used commercially. 3,000 chemicals are added to our food supply. There's 10,000 chemicals used in food processing, preserving, and storage. The EPA estimates that our homes are now 5 to 100 times more toxic than outdoor air, and that we are literally marinating our bodies in toxins every single day. The University of Columbia School of Public Health says that 95% of all cancer is due to diet and the accumulations of toxins. And so in America, we have a huge problem. The problem is that diseases are becoming plagues and they're becoming pandemics. The common cold literally became a pandemic, and asthma and allergies, obesity have tripled. Obesity has triggered early diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. We've seen a dawn of new era autoimmune diseases like thyroid conditions and the but especially our female population. Autism, when I was going through school, was 1 in 150. It's approximately 1 in 38 today. It's insane. 8 million children are on brain-altering drugs. These are our children. These are the ones that smile and play and are supposed to have fun, but now they're on antidepressants. It's insane. 1 in 4 of the people that watch this video today have difficulty sleeping, and so the purpose of sleeping is healing, right? And so it's really crazy. 100% of humans today have toxic DDT contamination. Over 50 to 90% of the foods in the United States have detectable levels of pesticide residues. And Time magazine stated that 80% of all cancers are attributed to environmental factors, including exposure to carcinogenic chemicals. Just over and over and over again, these numbers it's never less than 80. It's always like 80, 85, 95% of all of this disease is related to toxins and lifestyle. It's always like that. And so there are millions of things to avoid. I really believe that the first step to take today is to detox your mind. You have to clear your mind first. And so how many people do this when you go to work? You take the shortest car lane on the way to get to work. You're the first person, or you're in the shortest line at the grocery store. And some of this is that we don't cultivate deep enough relationships like we used to even 10 years ago. Our cell phones lead to this. I really believe that. I think that we get little snippets of information every single day, tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram, Snapchats. It's just over and over again. And so culture, though it's not the problem, it's that we're the problem. It's that we're living and abiding by what culture, the rust culture, would have us do. And so what the research says, there was a study that was let me find it. It was done by Microsoft. And it was called, Why Do Teenagers Today Have the Same Anxiety Levels of Insane Asylum Patients in the 1950s? It said the average family schedule would cause a mental breakdown in most individuals in the 1950s. That self-inflicted toxic stress is the most toxic stress of all of us today. And the way that we speak to ourselves is horrifying. But you should know that you have worth. And that you have value. The human attention span is now only like 8 seconds compared to a goldfish, which has an attention span of 9 seconds. This has a drastic effect on our weight, on our hormones, and overcoming diseases. You don't have to do all of this, but I do recommend that if you're going to really remove stress from your life and stress from your body, that you do a couple of these things. And so, okay, are you ready? 1985 old school double dog dare right here. Fast from Facebook for a week, for a day, for 3 days, for 5 days. I fasted from Facebook for 2 years, and it was a blessing. And so I'm back on because I just feel like I feel like I'm being called to reach out to people, and that's just where people are. But if you can get off Facebook 7 days, 10 days, that would be awesome. Toxic schedule elimination. Work on saying no to more things. Having a weekly schedule is a big thing. Look over your week and your month together. Be prepared so that you can de-stress in the long run. Find a new adventure. Try doing family game nights. We're not big computer players, we use computers, but we really try to stay off of tech. But we did get a Switch recently, and we have this like Olympic game that is just so fun. And so we do that. We have lots of board games at the house as well. Prioritize your downtime. Like for me recently, I broke my ankle, and so it allowed me to have some time off. But if you have downtime, if you're forced to have some downtime, then prioritize that. And then the last thing here, I truly believe this. I think that one of the most important things that you could do is to share your thoughts so that your own truth speaks out when you are gone. And so that the way that you know that is to make videos and to do journaling. And I really encourage people to journal. That also helps you to de-stress. It used to be 1 in 150 when I first went through school, and now it's 1 in 38 for kids that have autism. It's horrifying. 2,000 water systems across the United States have high lead levels. 6 million people, about 350 of those drinking systems contain water that goes to schools and daycares. There's also at least 180 of our United States water systems failed to notify customers about the high lead levels as federal rules require. Infants were fed formula made from that contaminated tap water. Adults are also not immune to the problems from lead. Those include kidney problems, high blood pressure, and even in risk cardiovascular deaths. You know, when we're in this space where Corona and COVID has taken up so much of a burden on our communities, it's not really that big of a burden when there's this many people that are sick and suffering, but nobody is saying anything about this. That's one of the things that bothers me about so much of it. The largest organ in the human body isn't an organ at all. Actually, it's on it. Your skin is the very first protection from anything, from viruses, from bacteria, from toxic encounters. But your personal care products were meant to be slathered, soaked, and spritzed all over your skin. But if you wouldn't put it in your body, why would you put it on your skin? Because your skin does absorb some of these things. And so the stats say that the average woman uses 12 personal care products daily and are exposed to 168 different chemicals daily. The average woman's perfume has 250 to 400 chemical components. The average lipstick, 33, body lotion, 32, mascara, 20 components that are hazardous to your health. Medication, out of all the toxins to avoid, that's the one. It's the number one cause of toxicity by far. Once cures killers, including Vioxx, Avandia, hormone replacement therapy, Paxil, tamoxifen, antidepressants. Man, there's 118 million antidepressant prescriptions prescribed every single year. That's it. Insane. Side effects from those: suicide, mass shootings, violence. That's a huge reality. That is the side effects from taking antidepressants and mind-altering drugs. But also hormone damage, chronic fatigue, decreased sex drive. The majority of people that come into Victory that are taking antidepressants or some kind of anti-anxiety drug, it always messes up their sexual drive. They're always having trouble in that area of their life. We have toxins in our home. These are the three that you want to avoid. DEA is found in 600 home and personal care products such as soaps, lotions, cosmetics, bubble baths, laundry and dishwashing detergents. Propylene glycol is also the main ingredient in a lot of antifreezes, and so it's also the major ingredient in vaccines, cosmetics, toothpaste, shampoos, deodorants. These are all things that you're going to find on the label. And so when you're sitting on the toilet and you're using the bathroom and you reach over for that soap container and you're looking at how good it does for your hair, read the ingredients, see what's actually in there. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a degreaser, is perhaps the most common of all of these. But the Journal of American College of Toxicology found that the SLS is left in the residual levels and causes heart, liver, and lung and brain damage. So avoid those. You can get soaps and shampoos, toothpaste without that stuff in it. Nerve stress, neurotoxic illness often surfaces following physical traumas or emotional traumas, divorce, tragedies. What we're talking about right now is emotional stress and the effects from that emotional trauma can have on you. But also when we are exposed to toxins, those toxins can come out as emotional problems as well. And so what we point to is what's called fight or flight, or the cortisol response, and the aspects that this has on our body. Researchers find that the more effects of stress and emotional stress and physical chemical stress, our bodies are developed with this language to measure and quantify those effects. And so what happens is that we have a bucket, it starts to get filled up. We don't really notice any symptoms, and then all of a sudden we develop some symptoms or some problems that we can't get over. We don't figure it out, but it's because we've been filling that toxic bucket up for years. We want to avoid the damaging effects of Teflon nonstick cookware. These are called PFOAs. They are 100% are involved in causing ADHD and other childhood development conditions, including fatty liver problems. Your pancreas produces insulin, so you can develop sugar issues, diabetes, testicular and mammary gland tumors, so you want to get off that stuff. Stainless steel cast iron, that's what you want to go for. Ceramic coated, enamel coated. There are 250 million pounds of active drugs flushed into the water system, eventually ending up in your tap water. Our water filtration systems in America weren't meant to filter out medications. They also don't clean up the fluoride that's in the water, because the fluoride's put in there on purpose. But fluoride is a toxic neurotoxin. It causes problems in your brain. It causes problems in your bones. You expose yourself to 25 gallons of water when you shower as well. A 15-minute shower is equivalent to drinking 8 glasses of polluted water. If your skin repels 75% of the chemicals and toxins in the water, that leaves 25% of the chemicals making their way into your body. And the steam of hot shower releases a combination of TCE and chloroform. And so both of those are known as carcinogens. You want to filter your shower water. It's pretty easy. You can get a $50 inline shower filter from Aquasana. You can do a clean water reverse osmosis system from like AquaClear water systems that we have here where I'm from. And then Costco has water filtration systems. You just hire a plumber, or you can just install it yourself if you have enough courage to do so. We should know that any kind of water or moisture damage that gives way to mold growth in our body. It's estimated that 50 to 100 common indoor mold types have the potential to create healthcare problems. That's from OSHA. You also have a toxin inside of your body. It's the most toxic substance on earth. Has affinity for the brain and the organs that enter your body via your eyes, your nose, your skin. It's concealed in many current health products. And it's the mercury that's in your mouth. If we can't see it, it must not be a big deal. This is a problem in America. We see that the inside of our body, we don't see it. And so we see the outside. If we feel good, we look good, we must be healthy. But there's a 2014 study that looked on the concurrent rise in allergies and asked whether the two teeth problem and amalgam fillings, the silver fillings that you may have, and allergies, if they're connected. Not just that, but asthma, cancer, cognitive and mood disorders, inflammatory diseases. The American Cancer Society lists dozens of carcinogens, and this is one of the top ones. It's mercury. Your daily mercury exposure comes mostly from the silver that's in your mouth, but also from the air, from water, from seafood, is from tuna. We know that the more amalgam fillings are present in your mouth, the more mercury that you'll have in your brain. This is a brain on mercury on the bottom. That's a brain that doesn't have mercury on it. That's super scary, y'all. Or it's mercury in it. GMOs are also a problem. GMOs are the direct manipulation of an organism's DNA in a laboratory environment. A genetically modified organism are not plants that are traditionally bred to achieve a specific characteristics such as breeding dogs or cross-pollination of plants. There's 50 countries in the world, including France, Germany, and Italy, that have restricted genetically modified organisms, while the United States does not even require that we label them. Genetic modification can include addition of DNA from species that would not normally breed, so like you wouldn't breed a dog and a cat. Food companies get away with saying that genetically modified foods are safe when they started with a 150-day study of rats that apparently the study showed no symptoms. But after 150 days, they ended up with tumors. They did the research before the 150 days, and that's what was approved. And that's why genetically modified organisms, this is how scandalous the whole food system is in America. There's a large and growing body of scientific research and on-the-ground experience that indicate that genetically modified organisms fail to live by themselves, and so they have to have man. And if a food can sustain itself in the environment that you find it, then that's usually a healthy food. If it has to have man to cultivate it, to keep it alive, to fertilize it, to put chemicals on it, to keep it healthy or to keep it alive, then it's probably not good for you. Glyphosate, also known as Roundup, has increased 50-fold since 1996. Today, 50 times more glyphosate is allowed by the EPA in corn grain than in 1996. We know for sure that glyphosate disrupts gut microbes, which are responsible for your immune health. There's a disruption of sulfur metabolism, glutathione deficiency, which impairs methylation pathways, which is just extremely terrible. Moms with hypothyroidism have a 4-fold increased risk of autism in the fetus, especially when they've been exposed to glyphosate. Where do you start? Where do you start to detox? So I know there's a lot of chemicals, there's a lot of stuff. It's not a foot detox, it's not some kind of bath detox that you're talking about. What we're talking about today is cellular detox. Your body has 7 detox channels. The skin, lungs, colon, kidneys, the liver, the lymphatic system, even fat cells can detox. To maximize detox, what we have to do is look at these channels to look at our detoxification from an intracellular level and an extracellular level. Researchers are leaning towards classifying body fat more like an organ rather than simply a fat that's hanging around. Referred as visceral fat, that's your the fat that's on your body. There's an interesting article that said that there's a major diseases in obese Indian women that link it to toxins stored in the fat. What we're saying is that your fat, it stores toxins. In order to detox, you have to detox your fat. You just can't do some kind of foot bath or those foot pad cleanse things. You can do some sauna work and those kind of things, but you have to clear your body from not just this level of a extracellular but intracellular level. Intracellular detoxification balance, we're talking about a balance of the intracellular environment of your body. It's composed primarily of the antioxidant enzymes glutathione, catalase, and superoxide dismutase. These are supplements that you can actually find at the store. Glutathione is the key for intracellular detoxification. Most detoxification programs, they focus on detoxing outside of the cell but never really detoxing inside of the cell. When you detoxify inside the cell, it balances the internal environment, which allows for proper nutrient absorption. When your cells are toxic, they can't get the stuff out of them, and so the good stuff can't get in them as well. There's what's called nutrient transfer and waste transfer through the cell membranes. It's critically important. That study found in the Journal of Cell Biology. Glutathione is the primary antioxidant in the body. It's unique because it actually recycles itself and it continuously seeks out and destroys toxins. Glutathione is made up of the amino acids cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid, and sulfur, the major endogenous and antioxidant produced by your body, is called glutathione, and it requires vitamin C and vitamin E. Once you detoxify inside of your cell, you have to detoxify outside of your cell. Extracellular detoxification improves the extracellular environment. It improves cellular exchange of fluids and aids in elimination of toxins. There's a sodium potassium exchange that improves the fluid exchange. This can be done by consuming potassium or something like a grass-fed whey protein. Your tonsils, thymus, spleen, digestive tract, your lymphatic vessels and nodes throughout the periphery of your body. This is also called extracellular detox. The lymphatic system has a responsibility for a couple things. Number one, it's removal of interstitial fluid from your tissues. It absorbs and transports fatty acids and acids known as chyle from the digestive tract. It transports white blood cells and to and from the lymph nodes and into the bones. Lymphoid tissue is a specialized connective tissue. It's a reticular connective tissue that contains large quantities of lymphocytes. What we're talking about here is that your lymph is a good thing. And even when we have cancers and your cancer is in the lymph node, that's really bad because it's eliminating your ability to detox, but it's also greatly related or associated with your bloodstream. 1 gram of sodium holds 11 grams. I think this is cool. 1 gram of sodium holds 11 grams of fluid, and so you only need about 500 milligrams of sodium per day. The standard American consumes about 5,000 milligrams of sodium every single day. Whey protein is a natural source of organically bound potassium that will help to re-regulate the sodium that's in your body. There's also some natural things that you can do as far as general toxic removal, and so just a quick highlight: drinking plenty of water, fiber, probiotics, charcoal, magnesium. There's also essential oils, including citrus essential oils. These are seen as functional facilitators when it comes to clearing waste from the body. This picture right here illustrates how many nutrients are required to eliminate toxins from our body. You need B vitamins, folic acid, glutathione, antioxidants like milk thistle. These are all supplements that you can get at the grocery store even. vitamin E, vitamin C. There's a level 2 or step 2 detoxification, which is like a deeper level. This is where your glutathione is needed the most, and so remember that's produced with glycine and glutamine, cysteine, taurine. Sulfurated phytochemicals that you find in garlic and other cruciferous vegetables like broccoli. Ultimately, we know that your body detoxes from the inside out. The good news is that you don't necessarily need a lot of help. You just need to support your body and let your body do what it's supposed to do. You know, when we go to the chiropractor, the whole purpose of going to the chiropractor is allow your body to heal from the inside out. Your brain sends information down your spinal cord out to all your organs, and if there's a problem with this, your spine protects your delicate nervous system, and sometimes those bones go out of place. It's just a simple fact. And when those bones go out of place, it pinches on the nerves. If the nerves in your mid-back are pinched, then those are the nerves that feed into your liver, your kidneys, into your guts, and your body's not going to detox the way it's supposed to. Nerve stress can cause all kinds of problems emotionally and physically. These are some warning signs that you may be having if you need to get to the chiropractor. You may be having headaches or menstrual cycle troubles, high blood pressure, depression, insomnia, sciatica, dizziness, fatigue, acid reflux. These are all problems that can be helped at the chiropractor. Healthy nutrition sustains your well-being and helps to prevent disease throughout all stages of life. Like I said before, we've got a detox nutrition workshop coming up, so I'm not talking a whole lot about nutrition on this workshop today. Staying active is one of the most important factors as you grow older, but also to maintain your independence, your vitality, and your detoxification system. The master universal intelligence, God, left a major route for us to unload a lifetime of damaging and disease-producing chemicals. It's called sweating. The only proven way to get the most toxins out of your body is to sweat, and so sweating is not a bad thing. We take antiperspirants and things that stop us from sweating, but that's not necessarily a good idea. Sweat's like a good thing, right? And so deodorants are okay because it's keeping us from being stinky. You want to sweat a little bit. You can do surge training. You don't have to go on the treadmill for an hour a day. You can do an intense movement for 20 seconds. You rest for 20 seconds. You repeat that 3 times. You rest for a minute in between those times, and then you repeat the total exercises 5 to 6 times. So you're on, off for a minute. Repeat that 5 or 6 times, go on about your day, and you'll start to sweat like that. A good idea for a smoothie can be a half a can of coconut milk, 8 ounces of coconut water, a teaspoon of coconut oil, 1 cup of ice, handful of spinach and blueberries. We have grass-fed whey protein in our clinic. This is a good post-workout smoothie. A lot of people mess their post-workout by eating a lot of sugar, and so don't do that. Remember that if toxins, if I have a fish bowl and I put an aspirin in that fish bowl every day for 30 days and I come back, on the 31st day, do you think that, and I test the health of the fish, is that fish healthier or sicker? It's an obvious answer that the health of the fish is sicker, and so if you put toxins in your body every day for the next 30 days, then do you think you're getting healthier or sicker? Regardless if you feel it or not, you're definitely getting sicker. Read your labels, guys, and so remember that you're watching the chemicals that you're putting in your body, that you're taking some supplements that are supporting your body. And remember, subscribe to the video today, plug into Facebook, plug into the Instagram. There's a protocol that we have at the clinic that requires glutathione in the detox system, sodium pulling from the whey protein, stress replacement, because when your body is stressed out, when your mind's stressed out, your body consumes B vitamins, and B vitamins are needed desperately for detoxification, especially for your liver. And then omegas for cellular congestion, because when your cells get hard on the outside, you want omega-3 fatty acids to allow the good stuff in and also the bad stuff out. And so remember, like the video, go subscribe to Instagram, Facebook, and we just love you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.